You already know what's the deal. Whenever you hear that MVP chant, you already know what's going on. It's the most valuable podcast in the world. Yes, Sirski, it's the Hitmen podcast. Y'all can tell I'm in a real good mood. We way down in the hole with an MVP this week. We already lit in here, y'all. It's late night. You feel me? Tuesday night, but I got one of the gods of the entertainment industry in here with me. A Renaissance man. We talking about a Grammy-nominated artist. You feel me? And part of one of the greatest, most iconic television programs of all time. They teach classes about this in Harvard, bro.
To this day.
You feel me?
It's a fact. That is a fact. He's not lying.
Man, a year and a half ago when we started this joint, this brother was one of the first people I had to have on my list. I had him in my sights, and now we got him in here. Man, I don't even want to waste no more time. Tristan, Mack Wilds, welcome to the Hitmen podcast, big dog. How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. God is good, man. God is great.
Straight up and down, bro. Man, I know you just coming back in from doing some more work. I appreciate you for giving us a little bit of your time. We ain't gonna hold you. We know you got to get your rest. I got a ton to talk about. We're gonna try to do it in a really short amount of time. But what's the word? How's everything going up there, up top in New York?
Man, things are good, man. You know, we just finished doing our Broadway play, Thoughts of a Colored Man.
Oh.
Yeah, that joint was really, really dope, man. Shout out to the entire squad that worked on that, man. It was amazing. My boy Da Vinci, who's in BMF right now.
Word.
My boy Luke James, who's everybody knows who Luke James is. I don't even gotta say. My boy DeLon from Pose, BTC, Bryant, Terrell Clark. He's on everything right now. My man's cooking. It was a crazy experience, man. One of my mentors, I got a chance to meet somebody who's like a new mentor to me. You know, Forrest McClendon, who's Tony nominated, and the short film that I worked on, literally just before I got on with y'all, I just got the call that the short film that we did a year back, it just got accepted into another Oscar qualifying film festival. So
you gotta say that a little louder. You gotta put a little more flex in that. You know what I'm saying? Congratulations on that, big dog.
Yeah, man.
That's dope. That's hard. That's hard.
you said it earlier, man. God is good. It ain't a lie. It ain't a lie.
Straight up and down, bro.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that, man. It just seems like the list of contemporaries that you just named off, along with the many accomplishments that we here to give you your flowers for, bro. Like, is it hard waking up every day and saying, like, damn, I'm Mack Wilds. God damn, I'm Mack Wilds.
Nah, you know what's crazy? You would think, I think a lot of people kind of get caught up in smelling their own shit, for lack of a better term, but every day I wake up, the first person to wake me up is my daughter.
Word.
And that'll humble you very quickly. You know, it's not, she doesn't know who you are. You're not, to her, I'm not a big star by any means. It's like, Dada, I'm hungry. What's up? What we doing? Nigga, I don't know about all of this other stuff. You gotta go do what? Red carpet? Nah. I need snacks.
You heard?
Snacks.
We're gonna get into fatherhood. That's something I wanted to definitely tap in with you, especially being a girl dad myself. The business for tonight, though, man. We 2022. We are officially in goal mode. It's the year, the 20th anniversary of The Wire.
Yeah.
I know that you got to drink that in for a second. You came into season 4. You've already been upfront and saying you were an avid fan of the show before you actually got on. You play one of the most impactful, iconic characters, Michael Lee.
Thank you, man.
Word around the campfire is if we'd have had a season 7, you was gonna be the brand new Omar. You feel me? She stands alone. But you were one of my favorite characters, and I just wanted to have you on the show tonight to talk a little bit about that huge accomplishment. We talking about 20 years. It was already, you know what I'm saying, well received when it first came out, but it just grew and grew and grew. Obviously, it goes without saying, during the pandemic, I'm sure people rediscovered it and fell in love with The Wire all over again. You gained new fans. But I just wanted, MG and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about, you know, such a huge and monumental accomplishment, bro. And giving you your flowers because you're such a humble young man. There's so many things that you've done, but we want to talk about The Wire tonight. So, how did you even become a part of the show? Because obviously, going into the 4th season, it already had huge success, and it was must see TV. How were you able to create that marriage in terms of being a part of season 4?
You know what's crazy? I think a lot of people, we constantly look at what happened with The Wire, and we're like, dang, The Wire was so popping at the time. But if you really, really think about it, it wasn't. It was a very niche show until season 4. Like, there was a lot of people who were very much like, yo, you gotta watch the show. You gotta watch the show. And they would garner the viewership and the fandom that it has now, or start to. Like, they would start to spark the fire. It was the fans who would watch it.
Yeah, it was a slow burn.
Prior to that, while it was actually on, we were low-key fighting for every single season that we were put on for you guys. HBO was we weren't The Sopranos. We weren't Deadwood. It wasn't like, oh my God, everybody wants to see this. Every time we had to kind of come back to HBO like, yo, can we get another season? And they'd be like, we'll see. We'll have to weigh everything out. So it wasn't until season 4 that and honestly, again, it was the fans. It was the people gravitating towards it in such a way that HBO had no choice but to make sure that we came back for the 5th and final season.
It's undeniable. It's undeniable.
It was undeniable. We were low key in the streets like drugs. I think it was still to this day one of the most stolen or they were the most bootleg season of television ever. Promise you.
I think what made it so impactful was how authentic it was, and I guess that's what resonated with. Like you said, it was kind of a cult following. It kind of was. It was one of those things where it was a slow burn, and then it turned into a bigger giant, a sleeping giant, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have to audition for your role? Did you have an agent at the time? Like, what was the process in terms of landing that actual role for Michael?
So I was about 14 when it actually happened. About 14, 15 years old.
Young boy, crazy.
Yeah, young. And before that, I did Miracles Boys and a few other things, quick little spots. Maybe like a quick role on a soap opera or something here or something there. Nothing crazy, but yes, I had an agent and I had a manager, and my agent sent it out to my manager. My manager was like, yo, season 4 of The Wire, they said it's going to be about kids. And I remember talking to my mom, because again, I was a fan of the show, talking to my mom and being like, yo, like, he said the 4th season is going to be about kids. Like, they're gonna fuck this shit up. Like, they change the whole show. Like, I want to see Stringer. Like, what's going on?
Word.
Brother Muzo just smoked my man. I want to see if he's coming back from the dead. Like, what's going on?
Exactly.
But I went out for the audition, and funny enough, the first time that I auditioned for it, I auditioned for Randy.
Oh, word. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
So the first time I auditioned for the show, I auditioned for Randy, and we got pretty far along in the auditions, a few callbacks, and then finally the producers called back and was like, we like him, we think he's a good actor, but we think, like, for the character that we're playing, he doesn't look like the kid that would I was a bigger kid than everybody else.
I thought you was gonna say he don't look like a snitch.
No, yeah, they were like, he don't look like he could get. He would look like he would fight back. Like, he would.
Word. Okay.
He would beat other kids up. So then they were like, yo, let's send him out for Michael. And it was funny because at first, looking at Michael's character, when you're an actor, one of the biggest misconceptions that you always have is, if my character doesn't have a lot of lines, my character's not going to have an impact.
Right.
So I start looking at the script, and I'm like, damn, Michael doesn't really say much of anything. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, all right, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to go out. I want to kill. I just want to kill it. I want to make sure that this is a show that I love, And if they're sending me out for it, I think it would be dope. Went out, did the audition. They sent me out to Baltimore to like meet with the producers and everybody. And I think like 2 weeks later or something like that, got the call, I booked the part.
That's hard. I wanted to ask you, because again of how authentic the show felt. You from Staten Island, grew up in Stapleton Projects. Was there any inspiration, or did you have to draw from anything else other than life experiences in order to give the most authentic portrayal of Michael during your time there?
I think always, no matter what, just growing up back home in Stapleton and having not only the friends around me, but just going through my own things in life and knowing the friends and family that are around me. And, you know, growing up in the projects, there's not many options that were given. So
yeah,
with that, you understand the characters that you're portraying on shows like The Wire. I completely understood Michael. I understood who he was, where he was, and why he was. So very early on, as soon as we got the role, I knew exactly who I had to kind of reach and who I had to tap into, what I had to tap into to portray him the right way.
Word. MG.
Yeah, and I mean, you just said Stapleton like it's not a big deal. I mean, Stapleton, I mean, it's legendary Stapleton. You're talking about part of the Woo. But kind of getting into you diving into the role and you talking about how you felt about it kind of at the time, looking back on it, kind of hindsight, how do you feel about playing that role and kind of what that character embodied, looking back on it?
You know, hindsight is 20/20, and it is probably one of the most fucked up things in the world, but it's true. I wish, even now, I wish I would have had the mindset to really kind of appreciate the stories we were telling, appreciate the nuance in the character, appreciate or even be able to absorb a little more the way that I try to absorb from my characters now. At the time I was, like I said, I was 15, my bad, 14, 15, 16, 17 in The Wire. And being that young, you know, my mom is working, my dad is working, so there's not my siblings would have to come in and out of Baltimore to watch over me. But essentially I'm 14, 15 years old with my own apartment, not in my hometown. I'm living like I can pay for all of this. I can pay for whatever sneakers I want. Like
crazy.
I'm focused on a different thing versus focusing on the work the way that I do now. So in hindsight, I appreciate them putting me in Michael. I appreciate the things that I got a chance to learn, and I wish I could have been even more of a student than I was back then.
Speaking of students of the game, man. I started the show by saying you a regular Renaissance man. You've rubbed shoulders with some giants. I'm talking about Felicia Rashad, Queen Latifah, Alicia Keys, Hove, Cuba Gooding Jr. in Red Tails, Terrence Howard. From the music side, Teddy Riley. You know what I'm saying? Like, you been on screen with Sanaa Lathan. Bro, how I know it's funny like it's in jest, but when I say like you wake up and you go, damn, I'm Mack Wilds. How do you at 14, 15 years old summon up that confidence, that bravado, that just to have those broad shoulders to be able to say, I'm gonna hold this role down? And I'm sure in the moment, like you said, you kind of just doing, you're not thinking, you're falling in love with the work. But where does that confidence come from? Where does that ability to hang in there with these heavy hitters on a daily basis come from when you're that young and you harness it and carry it into, you know, the type of career that you have? Where do you get that from? Was it moms? Was it life? Like, where does it come from?
It's a little bit of everything, man. I've always had I've always been a very hard worker in everything. When I was playing sports, even in high school, whether it was, and I played damn near every sport besides basketball.
We're gonna get off into it too.
Yeah, but I was always wanted to be the hardest worker in the room. When it was wrestling, I wanted to work the hardest. When it was baseball, I wanted to work the hardest. Football, I wanted to work the hardest. If I wasn't the fastest guy, I'm like, I'm gonna outwork the fastest guy. Like, I'm gonna work until he's tired, and then you gotta call him. Like, I was always somebody who just wanted to work really, 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 really hard. And I knew my limits. I think that was another thing. I always knew my limits, so I knew how far to go and then when to pull back so that I can keep going past somebody once somebody else reached their limit. I was always intuitive in that nature. So between that, trying to be the hardest worker in the room always, and always approaching everything with a childlike mindset to just play, like I've always, and I think it took me a while to get back to it. I think one time not one time, but just like after a while, you start realizing how serious you have to take things, and then you start realizing that you don't have to take things that seriously. We're in a position in this business where we literally play for a living. That's
True.
What we do.
Yeah.
We play for a living.
Word.
So why not play? Like, that's literally what your job is asking you to do. So to come to everything with that mindset, of course, stay serious, stay grounded, stay real and everything, but allow yourself to play, to find new things, to adventure, to be creative.
Word.
That's where my bravado comes from.
When we speaking about like I said, heavy hitters, those were just names that weren't even attached to The Wire, but in The Wire, they're superstars. Idris Elba, Wood Harris, yourself, Michael Kenneth Williams, rest in peace.
Big homie.
Let's talk about some of the lessons that those brothers gave you, or some jewels that were dropped on set. If you can recall something that that you still carry with you. I'm sure Mike has some words for you, and not only that, but the fact that we're acknowledging your talent. I'm sure they recognized it on set back then. I know it's hard to pull from 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, but just talk about the impact that those brothers had on you and the growth that you've gone through.
I think the biggest thing was I know from Idris and Wood, one of the biggest things that they both kind of echoed in their own separate ways, of course, was understand the work is the work, and don't let the outside, like, don't let Hollywood affect who you are.
Word.
I think a lot of times, we leave the set and we can feel like we're that character, or we have to put on another character and we have to be something else or do something else. But one of the main things that they both told me in different times or different settings was like, yo, don't let all of this shit get to you, man. It's plastic. It's not real. It's not tangible.
Word.
For Michael, for Mike K, man, one of the things that he always kind of put in, like, that he constantly gave us, and I say us because it was me, my boy Greg, his sons, he kind of kept us. Julito, he kind of kept us all around and just like always in tune with what he was doing. But one of the things that he constantly told us was, not even just told us, but showed us. I think the best way to teach somebody is to show them. One of the best things that he taught us, and that goes back to what I was saying before, is just have fun with it. Like, have fun in life. Life is so I'm somebody who lives by quotes, right? So one quote is, yo, have fun with life. You don't get out of it alive, so why not have fun while you're here? It's true.
That's lit.
Straight up.
That's lit. Damn. I'm gonna have to listen back to this again just to write that one down. That's hard.
Yeah, that was a bar.
Thanks, man.
Jeez, you got another question for Mac?
Yeah. And so for you, actually, I was going to ask another question, but I just got a good question listening. Because just hearing you talk about kind of how you approach the business at this point, how do you go about picking the projects you work on? I mean, obviously music is going to be a lot more personal and passion based, but when it comes to film or stage, what kind of goes into the process of you coming across something that you like and you decide that that's a role for me?
Man, I think the biggest thing would probably be just things that connect with who I am as a person. I'm a kid who loves comic books and learning new stuff. I'm a black man. There's so many different facets to all of us. So I like to do things that would resonate or would impress the younger version of me. You know, if it's a Marvel or DC film, it's like I know the younger version of me would be hype.
You took the words out of my head. I need you in this. I need you in it. When they bring the X-Men in, I need you a part of it, bro. Straight up and down. I need you in there doing something. We need you on the big screen.
I would love that. So if it's DC or Marvel, I know the younger version of me would be hype about that. If it's something about like something that helps the progression of us as black men, I know the younger version of myself, because my uncle was a Black Panther. So at a very young age, I had the poster of the 1968 Olympics over my bedroom wall at like 11, 12. Like that was my mindset. So there's certain things that always resonated with me. So now choosing roles, it's about one, progression, two, impressing the younger version of myself, and three, legacy. What will live here longer than I will?
I heard it interesting. I was talking to one of my homies trying to get situated to have you on, and I asked them the same question, just because I wanted to know how it would go over, and they said their favorite character is Baltimore, the city of Baltimore.
Yeah.
How it comes together, how each season peels back a layer of the onion of the city of Baltimore. So it's always interesting chopping it up with folks that were there right on ground zero to get that perspective. 20 years later, it's still hard to even imagine that you can't walk through it. Like, can you walk through the mall? Can you walk through a grocery store and not get mobbed? Like, walk through the airport and not get, like...
Sometimes, probably pre-COVID, it would be a little crazier, but, now we masked up, so nobody knows who I am. I mean, some people still, like, they'll be looking at my eyes and be like, yo, you're not close. Like, man, you can see me through my N95, like, son, I'm masked up.
Word. I can't wait to get to that level. When the show take off and somebody do that, I'm just gonna lie and be like, nah, I'm not him.
I'm not gonna lie. I started doing that. I do that every now and then. Somebody will come up to me and be like, yo, you know who you look like? You look like that kid from The Wire, man. I'm like, damn, I hear that all the time. That's crazy.
It's funny. It's funny. I had this little kid. I was at a Pirates game couple years ago, and this little kid, he might have been 7 years old, and he swore up and down I was Dexter McCutcheon, and he gave me a baseball to sign, and I felt so bad, bro, because you can't not sign it. You feel me?
Because you feel horrible.
You can't not sign it. So I signed my name. Like I'm not a scumbag, bro. Like I don't want that type of karma on me. So I signed it, but I couldn't do cuts like that. But I feel it though, bro. It's just one of those things where I marvel at your humility, like your ability to be level-headed, despite that you've accomplished so much, bro. Like you have a lot to be proud of, but I'm sure none of that pales in comparison to your greatest achievement, obviously being a father. I share your sentiment in that. I got a baby girl myself. And you've been really open and honest about how fatherhood kind of pulled you out of a dark place and set your fire back ablaze. And when it comes to creativity, as much as you feel comfortable with, just touch on, just the experience of being a daddy at this point and what it's doing for your life, bro. You said it's a job you don't get paid for, but it's one you would probably volunteer for every day of your life.
Every single day of my life.
Straight up.
Every single day. I think, man, I remember being in acting class, and I was in acting class for a minute, man, like before my daughter and then after. So My acting class, my teacher really, really dug what I was doing. He was very proud of me and all of that. But I remember after Tristan was born, I took a hiatus for like a couple months and then came back. And my acting coach, by the way, for anybody out there, any young actors, musicians, whatever you decide to do, stay a student.
Podcasters.
Even podcasters. If you're a student, learn. Don't be afraid to learn. Like, do everything in your power to learn. If there's classes to take the classes. Learn as much as you can. Take what you feel is necessary. Leave what you feel it doesn't suit you. Like, really go to class. Learn what you're supposed to learn, because it can only make you better. So, and even me, somebody who's been in this for over 15 years now, I still feel like I haven't even scratched the surface of how good I actually am, and it's taking classes that get me to where I need to be.
Word.
So, I'm in the class. Teacher pulls me to the side. Tristan, can I talk to you for a second? He said, are you all right? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't know. Like, he's like, there's like something different. Like, even your scenes are just like in a different place now. Like, are you all right? Like, I'm not saying it bad. I'm saying like it's way better than what you've ever done. And I'm like, oh, thanks. I was like, it's crazy. I just had my daughter, I guess. He was like, okay, cool. I completely understand.
He said,
let's get back to work.
No more questions. That's locking in. That's the equivalent of one of these athletes, like a LeBron or a Kobe or something. When the game starts slowing down, like it takes whatever that moment is, and after that, it's like, all right, it's winning time. It's championship time now. Let's talk sports a little bit. So you're a New York native. You're a New York native. You've been all over the world. Is your heart with the Knicks, even though they trash bags nowadays, or have you adopted somebody's team?
It hurts my heart, man. It hurts my heart. I can't, just because of my loyalty, I can't go anywhere else. It's just the cousin that you don't want to talk about at the family reunion. It's like, oh yeah, Ray, it is what it is.
He just came home.
You gotta love him. Yeah. You gotta love him. You still gotta love him.
Bro, y'all shut down Kimba. They let James Harden and Embiid come through and paintbrush him the other night. I think it's time for Tibbs to get up out of there. I think he's one of them coaches where he's a culture changer, but he's not a championship winning coach. He's the type to come in and he's the disciplinarian. He's like the dean of the school. He's not necessarily the principal of the school. You feel me?
I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not even just Tibbs. And I've been saying this for years. It's that front office, dog. And it's a trickle down thing, man. If your front office ain't right, it'll trickle down, man. You could get the best people in the world there. If the front office don't know how to handle everything the right way, if they don't know how to handle a team of that it's supposed to be at that capacity, like it's New York. It's supposed to be. We're supposed to. Well, I can't even say like. Right
you can say it. You can say it. You wouldn't be. You got to be a true New Yorker. You got to say it. We supposed. Go ahead, dog. You got it.
We supposed to be just as good or as Showtime as the Lakers, and we ain't. So
keep hope alive.
There's nobody who to blame. We can't blame anybody else on that team. I mean, as much as we've had great players on the team, We've had people who ain't so great on the team. We've had great coaches. We've had not so great coaches. We've had great GMs. We've had not so great GMs. But it always comes up to that front office. What is the one thing that has stayed in place this entire time that is I guess has to be the reason for all of these missed seasons. So
I think you got to be patient. I think you got to be patient. The Knicks were kind of back and forth for a long time. Y'all had a brief stint with the Melo days. They're starting to trend in the right direction now. You know what I'm saying? Like World Wide West got
so too.
Got that thing moving in the right direction. So you just got to keep hustling, keep your head down, keep going to them games, sitting in celebrity row. You feel what I'm saying? Sooner or later.
Patience only going to go so far, man. He didn't have to wait long enough.
You waiting a while too with the Pistons, bro. Why you talking crazy over there, G?
hey, man. 04, bro. We still holding on to 04 like it was yesterday.
You said you played everything but basketball. Was there a particular reason why? Like you didn't grow 5 inches? Pause.
No. Pause. No, it was my older brother. I have such a reverence for my older brother, Nev.
Right.
He that was his sport. Like that was his thing. Like anytime he wanted to, like if he played in the streets, if he played wherever, I wanted to go watch Nev ball, and it was like. I can't do that. I can do everything else. I was short. I was stout. Like I was just a short, heavy kid at the time. I'm like, okay, I can't play basketball. I would just tackle everybody. Nah, I'm gonna play football. And then football led to baseball. Then baseball led to playing soccer for a little while. Then soccer led to wrestling. And then once I did 90210, I was doing lacrosse. And before that, like right before I got on the wire, I was boxing. It was just a lot of.
You were boxing.
I played every sport besides basketball.
Do you get a different type of rush from performing? I guess performing is too general. Do you get a different type of rush from acting versus doing music, or is it hard to categorize it? Is it hard to describe? What's the best way that you can describe it?
I have to describe it as like it's like different drugs. I think the best way to put it. It's a horrible way to put it, but I think that's the best way to put it. It's like different drugs. Some people, they want to pop Molly and sweat. Some people want to smoke a little weed. It gives you different highs. So. Or even if you just smoke weed, it's like sativa versus an indica.
Right.
It's one is gonna get you real low, and you want to sit down and you want to feel that body, or one you can clean up the entire house.
Straight.
So it's different highs for me. Being able to do music, there's literally nothing like it. Somebody saying that they like your record, or being able to sing your record, or those moments that you actually go on tour, or even just do a performance and you put that mic out in the crowd and they know the words.
Cut the music off and just let it rock. Yeah, man.
There's nothing like that. And then on the acting side, there's nothing like that moment that you killed a scene, like completely embodied something, like to where you walk off set and you have everybody like this. There's nothing like it in the world.
I'm gonna say this to you, bro. The reason I ask that is because it's similar to an athlete. Just to circle back to sports, it's kind of like winning a championship versus winning something in another field. So like when Kobe won the championship, and then he turned around and won the Oscar for his doing work and for the children's book. So. It's still like a certain similar level of high.
It feels good. Like it feels good, but it's just
different.
It's different. It's just different. Yeah.
Do you get a certain sense of pride for putting on for the city of New York when you have these accomplishments, whether it's 90210, again, like I said, whether it's Profile, Red Tails, any of the many different accomplishments, do you feel a sense of pride knowing that I'm doing this for New York? It would be different if you was like, I'm from Fayetteville, Arkansas, or I'm from Tallahassee, Florida.
Facts.
When we like you mentioned it earlier, when it comes to like Hollywood or something like that Walk of Fame is a ton of greats, but a lot of them are from LA. They're from that lifestyle. Saying that, I'm doing this for the city. You feel what I'm saying? Is there a certain sense of pride that you feel putting on for the city when you do take New York into these different rooms, if you will?
Absolutely. I and it's purposeful. Like I do it on purpose, and it's because New York has constantly given me another level of inspiration, another level of constantly just growth, like the things that I need to grow as a person, as a human being, as a man. It's just constantly giving me like the fuel needed to continue to go out and do it. So I try to take New York, I try to take Staten Island with me everywhere that I go. Yeah, I remember when we was on 90210, and you know, I look back at it now and I'm like, dang, I should have still did it. But I was so New York in my head. We got a call to do like a big billboard in LA for the LA Dodgers. It was gonna take over LA, be like, yo, this is my city. All of us from 90210 is on the joint with the joints. I said, yo, the only way that I'm doing it is if they let me rock a Brooklyn Dodgers hat.
Yeah,
because it has to be New York.
Otherwise, it's
and they said they
straight up.
They were like, nah, it's for the LA Lakers because the LA Dodgers because it's the whole LA. This is our city. I was like, well, then I can't do it. Sorry. And I backed out of it. It was crazy.
That's how you stand on it. You stood on it. You stood on principle with the Timbs on, too. True New Yorker, dog. That's what I'm talking about, dogs. That's tough, though. That's tough, though. Listen, man, I want to tell you to your face, bro. First of all, shout out to Corey for putting this together. Thank you, big dog.
Yeah, man.
It's the ties that bind.
That's my brother.
It's family. But
that's my brother. We used to joke around all the time. I'm like, yo, if I could like really, and this is before he was DJing. I'm like, bro, if you knew how to DJ, you would be my DJ because I want to be the Fresh Prince, and you gotta be jazzy.
What's so crazy is, again, the ties that bind. The I don't know, as the 6 or 7 degrees of separation. When they revamped the Fresh Prince, when they did Bel Air, I said it like out loud when I first heard. I said Mack Wilds has to be in this show. Has to be. There's no unless you're just too busy to take the meeting, Mack Wilds has to be in this show at some capacity. It doesn't matter who he is. Carlton, like one of Will's homeboys, Will himself, like it has to happen. You'll be in there at some point. I know you're gonna figure it out. But the other thing is, in terms of speaking of Corey, his mentor is Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
So like
the God.
The
God.
So Corey has to be in there too. So don't think that y'all are gonna get too far away from that concept. You're gonna be in the show, and he's gonna be right there with you. I promise you. You're gonna do a song at some point for the score of the show, bro. I'm saying all that to say this, bro. When it comes down to the way I compare your career, it's very reminiscent to Kobe. So you've done a bunch of stuff. I feel like at this point, that's Kobe wearing number 8. But the best is yet to come, bro. That's Kobe 24 as far as I'm concerned.
Still in the first act, man.
Yeah, you getting ready to ascend into Kobe at number 24 and beyond, bro. I wanted to tell you that to your face. Again, when I started this show a year and a half ago, you were one of the first people on the list. I said, we gotta have him on. We gotta showcase this, bro. So I needed to get you on here to tell you that, bro. Like, you're an inspiration. You're a mountain mover. And whenever you feel like that's not the case, run this back and this is truth. This is evident. I'm bearing witness. MG is bearing witness to what you're doing, bro. Salute you.
Thank you, man.
3 times, straight up and down.
Oh,
thank you, man. Thank you. It's crazy. You know, I tend to just this business kind of runs off of what have you done for me lately mindset. So I think a lot of times we get caught up in the hustle and bustle, and we don't take the time to look back and see the things that we've done.
Yeah.
And I think during the pandemic, because it sat all of us down, I got a chance to really sit down and really just recollect everything that I've been through, all of the things that I've seen, and just truly enjoy smelling the flowers that I've cultivated in these last few years. And man, I appreciate that because I promise you I have the same mindset. Kobe is one of the guys that I look to every day, literally, that I have on like vision boards and all of that. One of the guys that I get my whole mindset from to why I do what I do and how I do it. So understanding that that 24 is about to come out, it's endearing, it's amazing, and for you to even notice that, I appreciate that, Jen.
Straight up and down, bro. We'll get you out of here with a few more questions. During the pandemic or even after that, have you gone back and watched your performance on The Wire?
Absolutely.
For me, MG and I both work in sports, but when I watch games nowadays, it's hard for me to watch them as just a fan. I'm hypercritical of everything, from the cameras to the audio to everything like that. So when you went back and watched your portrayal of Michael, were you like, man, I could have done that better? I missed my cue. I could tell you I forgot my line. Or were you able to really sit back and drink it in and go, yo, this was a dope performance?
I don't think I can ever do that again with any role, just because of where I've been, or the things that I know now. I'm always going to look at things, any role that I do, and be like, I could have did that better. Especially when it's a season of work, it'd be like, I did that. I could have did that better. Or even just the good stuff. Like, I'll be like, damn, I killed that. But it's still I killed that, and not focusing on the character or just focusing on the entire scene of what's going on. It's like, okay, I hit that well, proud of that moment. Okay, cool. And I'm always critiquing versus just enjoying it as a fan. And it's because I'm even now I'm behind the camera and in front of it. So I'm like, damn, I wish the cameraman would have moved over here, or damn, that would have been fire if we would have had makeup come in and touch that real fast. Ooh, that could have looked better. I could have sped that up a little more. It's super critical. But even watching it back now, because I think, and I only think because of Robert Chu and because of my own pure naivete, it's one of the best performances that I've ever done, just because it was as natural as possible.
Yeah,
I didn't have to think too much. It was literally just coming out of me.
As far as creativity goes, because that's pretty much what defines you. You've shown you're multifaceted, that you can do whatever, but it's just about being creative. Is that something that is important for you to pass down to your daughter? Not necessarily saying, oh, I want her to be an actress, oh, I want her to be a singer or a performer, but just how important is it to constantly push creativity to your seed?
About to say, you could probably hear her in the background right now.
She's like, wrap it up, fam.
Right. It's night, Dad.
Yeah.
No, it's for me. I think growing up, the way that I learned anything, the best way was through creation or creativity.
Yeah.
I wasn't a great. My teacher is so funny. If you went and talked to my English teacher, she would tell you I was one of the worst writers in the world. Now I have a Grammy-nominated album. I write. There was so many different things that I did. That didn't connect for me until I started to learn how to create it myself. Nice. And I hated being in boxes. Like, this is the way you have to do it. It never worked for me. It would never come out the way that it needed to until I had the freedom to just be and to just create whatever was on my heart. So I don't know what Tristan's learning style will be, but one thing that I will constantly keep her around is creativity. I think one of the most amazing things for her and for any woman anywhere is that women are the closest things to God that we have. And the closest way that we as men can be to God is to create. women have the ability to create.
That's so crazy.
At all times. They can create life.
Most creative, yeah. That's crazy.
They can literally create life.
Wow.
Whereas
wow.
we have the it's real.
Yeah,
where we have the we have to create things that can imitate life, art, or the work, whatever. We create things that imitate life. Art imitates life, all of that. Women create actual life. Right. So it's my daughter, or just because she's a woman, she has the ability to create naturally. So I just pray that I, as a father, I give her the tools needed to want to continue to create and to cultivate whoever she wants to be in this world.
Right. That's amazing, bro. I don't even know if I was ready for that.
Nah, I wasn't. I wasn't.
Jeezy, give him a couple more questions before we can get him up out of here, bro.
Yeah, first, just to add on to kind of what you were saying earlier, like, Mac, like, the amazing thing about you is that you're still young, right? And you have the ability to connect with an older audience that remember you from, being Michael or 90210, and has been able to kind of see your career grow and kind of come along with you, but you're still young enough to where you can have a impact on a younger generation. For you, since you act, you're way more than musically inclined, obviously. What would the perfect project for you look like if you had full control over it, musically, visually, acting wise? What kind of direction would you want to take with that?
Man, just because I'm somebody who likes not to keep the two separate, or just to keep the different ways of creation separate. If I had to put them all together, it would look something like Purple Rain.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies.
I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm leaving.
Don't sell me a dream, man.
He's too good, bro. I'm out of here.
He's selling me a dream, bro. That's one of my favorite movies.
I'm done. He's too good.
It's real. It's real. Like I think the best way to really showcase all of that, you got to do. I would love to do like something that visually is stimulating, and the records just keep hitting you.
That's
it would have to be something like a Purple Rain. But like what I consider perfect roles or just perfect things to do, I still want to do a story for Huey P. Newton.
Yep.
I feel like I want to play Huey really bad. I've wanted to play Huey since I was 16 years old. I want to play Huey P. Newton. I want to play Stevie Wonder. So I think Stevie needs a story badly, and I would love to play Stevie. I also Alvin Ailey. Oh my God, I want to play Alvin Ailey so bad. Just his story, understanding the thing that he's been through, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and that he wasn't. It's not about playing a role. It's not about playing somebody who happens to identify as gay. It's about a man who changed the world, no matter what his sexuality was.
Right.
Man, there's so many different things that I would touch on, and then the perfect album. Man, I'm somebody who understands that less is more. It wouldn't be something too heavy on the track listing. It would be a good, concise body of work that you can play over and over and over again. So that's for me. That's what I would want to touch on. Those are the perfect joints for me.
Way down. You had me sold at Purple Rain. But now you got me sold on the Stevie Wonder. As a Detroiter, I'm here for the Stevie Wonder idea.
Warner Brothers A24. What's up? Holla at us. We need in on that. Y'all heard it here first, man. Way down in the hole with the icon, with the legend. Mack Wilds, bro, thank you so much for pulling up on us, man. It's been a long time coming. I appreciate you being patient. I appreciate you being humble. Just being an amazing man, bro. Thank you so much, brother.
Nah, man. Thank you guys for having me. Seriously, man.
Y'all know where to find the guy that act Mack Wilds on everything. Stupid. Don't act like you don't know who he is. Y'all try to play stupid. Oh, ain't you Michael from The Wire? Stop. I don't want to hear no more slander about my bro. If there was any at all. Much continued success, health, wealth, blessings to you and your family,
Same
bro.
Same to you.
And don't ever forget in y'all life, man.
What happened here was a miracle, and I want you to f***ing acknowledge it.
All right, it's a miracle. Can we go now?
We had Mack Wilds on the show. We gone. Holla!